Don't think it's going to dent their consumption of bolly. Talking of which, your glasses look empty. I'm dying for a pint. Can I get anyone a drink? Troy flashed a mouthful of teeth, which, oddly, made Sam think of tombstones. He rubbed his hands together. Don't mind if I do. I'll help, said Sam, and gathered their empty glasses onto a tray. She always did this, wanting to help the landlady, who'd had to let some staff go because trade had dropped off. She also wanted to talk to Drew. How's business on the Morisco? She asked, as they waited for the landlady to pull their pints. Drew ran a small sailing charity that took groups out for trips on a vintage trawler. Could be better. Drew handed over some cash for the beers. To be honest, bookings have fallen off a cliff since the crash, and things aren't going to get better over the winter. We rely on the corporate and private money to subsidise the educational trips. The business customers are cutting back on team-building days, and Joe Public can't afford luxuries like learning to sail, which basically means we can't afford to take out the kids who really need a treat and a chance to build their skills and confidence. I'm so sorry, Drew. I know where you're coming from. It's tough at Stargazy Pie, too. People still need to eat, luckily, but it's still hard, said Sam, grimacing. I'm not sure I'd have set up the business if I'd known what was coming. I had a good job already at the craft bakery, and it felt mad to leave it last spring, let alone now. Would any of us do anything if we could see into the future? Drew picked up the tray of drinks from the bar. Sam shook her head. I'm glad I couldn't see what was coming with Mum and Ryan. And Gabe, of course, she almost added, but she didn't want to mention his name. The pain was still too raw. When the love of your life shopped your own brother to the police and then left town while your brother went to prison, well, it tended to leave its mark on you. You've had a rough few years, but keep the faith. Keep at it. Stargazy will be a success. We'll just have to ride out the storm somehow. We can't stop it from coming. Drew grinned. And anyone who's Porthmellow born and bred will tell you that. Nodding, Sam held open the door for Drew. A burst of brass band music hit her ears, and she blinked at the contrast of the gloomy interior with the bright sunlight glinting on the water. Sam zoned in on the "To Let" sign on the fish and chip shop at the end of the harbour. Gabe and his family had worked there and lived in the flat above it until he and Sam had split up. His parents had retired a few months previously, and no one had taken it over yet. The ice cream parlour next door was shuttered up and wouldn't reopen until spring. Bryony Cronk's new dog grooming business had set up in the old greengrocer's shop, but both units either side had blanked-out windows. Despite its shabbiness, Porthmellow was in Sam's blood. She loved its harbour and its quirky clock tower, every sunny day and each wild winter storm. Drew was right. No one could predict the climate, economic or otherwise. Just as there was nothing she could do about tourists choosing to go elsewhere. While Sam and Drew had been inside, Troy's wife Evie had joined their table. Sam saw her wincing a little, knowing she'd started to suffer from arthritis in her knees. It was a steep hike down to the harbour from Stippy Stappy Lane, where the Carmen's terrace stood a few doors down from Wavecrest Cottage, the home Sam shared with her sister, Zenna. Until a year ago, their brother Ryan had lived there too. Drew fetched Evie a G&T, and they returned to watching the kids jumping in the water. "Is that yours, Zenna?" asked Evie, pointing to a tall, slender girl with long black hair, poised 10 feet up on the wall above the harbour. "I haven't got my driving glasses, so I can't really tell." Sam shook her head. "Yes, it is," she said, wincing as Zenna threw herself off the wall and landed with a splash. She bobbed up immediately, squealing in triumph, and Sam heaved a sigh of relief. Zenna was just one more kid who thought they were invincible. Same as their brother Ryan had. Same as Sam's ex Gabe used to do when they were kids.